This is the section of reproduction, B13. You will start DNA now. This session is for both combined and triple. Why do you have similar features to your parents? How is this information passed to you? This is one of the important questions to answer. Let's have a look. An introduction to DNA. Each different type of organism has a different number of chromosomes in their body cells. For example, humans have 46 chromosomes, potatoes 48, chicken 78, kangaroo 16, fruit fly 8. In animals and flowering plants, chromosomes always come in pairs. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes in our normal body cells. We inherit half of our chromosomes from our mother and half from our father. All the different types of organisms that exist have a different number of chromosomes. A task for you now. You have to match the following words to the diagram: chromosome, cell, DNA, and nucleus, and put them in order of smallest to the largest. Use 3 words to describe the structure of DNA, and answer how long is all of the DNA in just one cells if in a single straight line. Let's pause the video and try yourself now. Here is the answer for you. The first one is labeled. The second one answer is smallest to the largest: DNA, chromosome, nucleus, and cell. Third one is spiral, helix, double, or stranded. And the last one is about 6 feet. Let's try the true and false. Pause the video and try it now. Now check your answer. DNA has a triple helix structure. That is false. The answer should be DNA has a double helix structure. DNA is larger than most of our cells. That's false. DNA is smaller than most of our cells. DNA is a polymer. That is true. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. That is also true. DNA is used to make proteins. That is absolutely true. Let's move on now. Let's take a look at the role of DNA. Inside the nucleus of our cells, our chromosomes are made up of long molecules of a chemical called deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA is a polymer, a long molecule made up of many repeating units. These very long strands of DNA twist and spiral to form a double helix structure. Our genes are a small section of this DNA. This is where the genetic information, the coded information that determines inherited characteristics. Each of our chromosomes contain thousands of genes joined together. Each gene codes for a particular sequence of amino acids to make a specific protein. These proteins include the enzymes that control our cell chemistry. This is how the relationship between the genes and the whole organism build up. The genes control the proteins, which control the makeup of different specialized cells to form the tissue. Those tissues form the organs, and those organs form the organ system, and therefore the whole body is made. Genes make proteins that dictate our eye color, blood group, and these genes are found distributed along the chromosomes. We have 2 copies of each gene, one inherited from mother, another one is from father. Genes are made of DNA, proteins are made of amino acids. Each amino acid is coded for its own special sequence of 3 bases called triplet. Here you go, you can see triplets makes the amino acid in different shape of amino acids. There are more than 100 essential amino acids in our body. Have a look at the box to find out the mistakes. Pause the video and try it now. Here you go, the answers for you. DNA is a long polymer. There are sections of DNA called genes which code for specific proteins. These proteins are constructed by a series of amino acids, the order of which is controlled by DNA, 3 DNA bases. The human genome. This is the specification of human genome. These are expected from the students to learn. Let's pause the video and read through. The Human Genome Project, which is known as HGP, it is an international scientific research project. The main goal of this project is to determine the sequence of chemical base pairs that is made up of all the human DNA. It also identified and mapped all of the genes for the entire human genome. In 2003, scientists announced that they have managed to sequence the human genome. All scientists around the world, they worked together and they finished the project 2 years early under budget. This was because the technology used to chop up the DNA and read all the base sequences that have improved so fast within the lifespan of this project. The word genome refers to an organism's entire genetic material, which includes all the chromosomes and the DNA found in the mitochondria. Very interestingly, we inherit our mitochondrial DNA from our mother. Again, from our mother, because it comes from the mitochondria in the egg. An introduction to genetic inheritance, or you can say inheritance in action. Can you roll your tongue? How is the information stored in gametes? If I ask you this question, can you roll your tongue? You could say yes or no, or I can do halfway through, I cannot do completely. However, the answer for this question could be different or varies person to person, because this is a dominant character, dominant characteristics. Means that more people in the class will be able to roll this compared to some. And this characteristic inherited from our parents to us. And this information carried by the sac cells called gametes. How this information is stored in the gametes? As this is stored as structured chromosomes. On the chromosomes, there's a section of the DNA called genes, and genes codes for a particular characteristics. Most of our characteristics, such as our eye color or the nose shape, are controlled by several different types of genes interacting to each other. Some characteristics such as black or brown fur color in the mice are controlled by a single gene. The way a single gene features like these are passed from one generation to another follows some clear patterns. We can use them to predict what may be passed on to the next generation. They are much easier to work with and understand than the majority of characteristics that result from multiple genes. Can you write down the following key terms: gametes, chromosomes, and genes? Let's pause the video and write it down now. Here you go, the definitions on the screen. Now check your answer. Alleles. Here we're going to look at the alleles, genes, dominant and recessive genes. Alleles are the different version of the same gene. We get 2 copies of every gene, one from each parent. Which copy actually gets to be presented? It depends on the gene, whether it is recessive or dominant. If we look at the dominant and recessive gene, dominant gene represented in a genetic cross with a capital letter, and it always wins because this is dominant. Recessive only wins if both alleles are recessive. means represented with a lowercase letter. A quick recap. Look at the list of these things found inside cells. Finish the following sentences. Choose the best words from this list. So you have 6 options. Complete these gaps. 3 marks. Off you go. Pause the video and try it now. Let's check your answer. Inside cells, there are coded instructions called genes. The instructions are made of a chemical called DNA. The instructions are carried inside the nucleus on structures called chromosomes.